KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you, neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. Sign up for Notify LA on your phone to get fire danger alerts and updates, or check on lafd.org. The Watch Duty app is free and provides wildfire maps and updates in real time. Keep your gas tank full and plan your route in case you have to leave the area. City and county officials are urging you to pack a go bag so you can be ready to leave your home quickly in case of an evacuation order. Your go bag should include a couple of days of clothing, copies of your important documents and ID, money, insurance information, your medications, electronic devices, batteries, chargers, a small radio, and emergency contacts. If you receive an evacuation order, gather your loved ones, grab your bag, your pet food, and leave immediately. For information on shelters for your pets or even your family, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 county-wide. Wearing a mask outside will help protect you from smoke, toxic fume, and particulate matter. If you don't need to go out, it's best to stay home with the windows closed. Getting to know your neighbors is a great way to stay safe, stay connected, and share resources. And Angelinos are stepping up to help, so reach out and find the assistance you need. Mutual Aid LA Network is constantly updating a Google Sheet with mutual aid resources. You can find it at tiny.cc-malan-fire. The earlier you make a plan, the better off you'll be when every second counts. Praying for LA, preparing, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me. Back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program but want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two conversations. Up first, we'll talk to civil rights leader and interfaith advocate Rabbi Stephen B. Jacobs and get his thoughts on Elon Musk's controversial and evocative salute. You saw that? We'll talk about the ceasefire in Gaza and more when the rabbi joins us at the top of hour two. On the B side of hour two.
Oh, Richie. Oh, Richie.
Okay.
You made me so happy. And you know what I do when you still want to see me?
Yeah.
Oh, Richie. You know, I have to admit, when we first met, I was intimidated by you.
You were?
And when we made love, I held back.
You did?
Who would now? Now that I've opened up and I've told you the truth about myself, I just want to be completely free to do any and everything you want me to.
Oh, God.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Lennox and 110.
Yes. I'll be there. You bet.
Richie, I think I'm falling in love with you
Yeah. Give me Hollycourt, 55377. Hello, it's Daddy. Hey, darling, put Mommy on the phone. Yeah, Barbara, it's Richie. Yeah, look it, I ain't never coming home no more. Take it easy.
Classic scene from Harlem Nights. Actress Layla Rashawn joins us live in studio on the backside of Hour 2 to talk about her newest project, The Family Business New Orleans, on BET+. Looking forward to Layla joining us in studio again on the backside of Hour 2. In our third hour, an in-depth conversation with the publisher of The Nation magazine, Katrina vanden Heuvel, about a little bit of everything, I suspect, the future of progressive politics, global Trumpism, whether an oligarchy really is shaping our present-day democracy, and likely a few other things, knowing Katrina as I do. But in this first hour, two more conversations. On the B side of this hour, Gavin Reynolds, former speechwriter for Vice President Kamala Harris, on the misuse of language in our political discourse by Donald Trump and many others, and what's next for the DNC. We'll talk to Gavin Reynolds on the B side of this hour. We commence today's show, though, in dialogue with the Illinois AG, Kwame Raoul. He is one of 22 attorneys general suing the Trump administration over the president's executive order ending birthright citizenship. And as you know, Trump started in Chicago with his mass deportation plan. As you may not know, since it just broke moments ago, the Justice Department has announced it will prosecute local and state officials over immigration enforcement. If you don't step up to the plate, the Justice Department may likely investigate and prosecute you as an elected. I digress for now. AG Raoul, how are you today, sir?
Doing well. I could be doing better under different circumstances.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Let me just start with this. I've got about 2 minutes here now, so I'll give you an opening salvo. When we come forward, I'll cut you loose. But broadly speaking, what do you make of these moves so swiftly? It's not as if Trump didn't promise all this, but broadly speaking, how are you navigating all this?
It's crazy. It's an audaciousness. Customarily, we say that conservatives like to look at the strict language of the Constitution with the birthright citizenship move. He's just ignoring the Constitution, as he said in the past that he would. But the language in the 14th Amendment is clear. It's unambiguous, and it's a amendment passed, as you know, in response to the Dred Scott decision that wanted to deprive descendants of slaves of their citizenship. The plain language says if you're born in the U.S., you're a citizen of the U.S., and they want to do away with that.
Just getting started in this 3-hour program today. Delighted to have as our leadoff guest, the Illinois AG, Kwame Raoul. More with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Hey you, I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber, more laxatives, more of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like being inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley in Illinois, AG Kwame Raoul. AG Raoul, to say that it's going to be a litigious 4 years, I think would be the mother of all understatements. It started quickly with these 22 states attorneys general filing this lawsuit, pushing back on Trump, the administration, on this birthright citizenship executive order. What do you AGs hope to accomplish with this lawsuit?
To preserve the Constitution, to preserve the plain language. This is not complicated. This is not a complicated lawsuit. This is not a complicated issue. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. So this is not something that even a second grader couldn't argue. And the fact that he's coming out of the gate with just this audacious move is an insult to the American people. It's an insult to the American people. It's an insult to me as a black man because I know of the origin of the 14th Amendment. It's an insult to me as a child of immigrants, of Haitian immigrants, because when my mother was born, she was not yet naturalized. And so this is not only for me holding up the oath that I took when I took office and I swore to uphold the Constitution, but it's also personal.
I'm glad you raised this. I'm glad you shared that personal anecdote, in part because we have this conversation about birthright citizenship, and we think we're talking about a bunch of Mexicans from Mexico, and that's all we're talking about. In reality, this if Trump was successful here, I'll come back to that in just a second, if he were successful. Put a pin in that. This doesn't just affect brown folk. It affects us too, does it not?
It does, absolutely. And you raised a good point there because what has happened, what happened during the campaign, and what will continue to happen is an effort to divide folks and distract folks. And this indeed is a distraction because they're going to be more damaging policies that they don't want us to pay attention to. But it's important for us not to be distracted. It's also important for us not to be tolerant of just ignoring the Constitution, the plain language of the Constitution, because if they can ignore birthright citizenship, they can ignore due process, equal protection, and other protections that we have in our Constitution and our laws.
Yeah, I raise that point primarily because I want black folk listening across the country this program right now to realize this is not their issue. This is our issue. Sometimes we get caught up in political compartmentalization, and we think that issue doesn't matter to us. You just heard the AG in Illinois, Kwame Raoul, tell you that he is the son of Haitian immigrants. And so if Trump was successful here, anybody born in this country of parents who are not naturalized citizens are subject to not being given birthright citizenship. So it's not a Brown issue. It's an all of us issue. I digress on that for now. On this program yesterday, AG Raoul, we were talking about something, and this issue came up of Trump floating the idea already that he ought to be allowed to run for another term because these two terms aren't consecutive. Excuse me. To your point, we know how the Constitution reads, but he's already floating this idea that he should be allowed to run for a third term, floating it very quietly, but already that trial balloon has gone up. And somebody laughed at that, mocked that yesterday. I said, hold up, not so fast. Michael Bloomberg was successful in changing the law in New York City to allow him to run for a third term. I'm not comparing things. I'm just offering an example. But Donald Trump does, in fact, control the House. He controls the Senate. He controls the Supreme Court. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that idea now floated may be rooted in reality for them, which leads me to ask, even though you say a second grader could argue this, Donald Trump does control the U.S. Supreme Court. And while we've had this law on the books essentially forever of birthright citizenship, I'm not so sure that with all the right players in place that he could make a serious run at overturning this.
Well, he's going to make that run. But the language cannot be as plain as it is here. We have debates about other constitutional amendments. What does right to bear arms mean? What does freedom of expression mean? And there's room to debate the reaches of that. But you are born and you are a citizen. It's not ambiguous. But you raise a good point. The fact that he's coming out of the gate with this, the fact that he's talking about an opportunity for a third term, displays the fact that he does not care what the Constitution says. He does not care what the laws that Congress have passed have said, because it's not just the 14th Amendment, it's the Immigration and Nationality Act as well that he's defined by doing this. So this just disregard for the rule of law is going to be a theme, and he's come out of the gate with it.
Somebody once said that if they come for them in the morning, then they'll come for us and all the others who are othered that night. If they come for them in the daylight, they'll come for us overnight. So, again, I remind our audience that this is not just a them issue. This is us. If he's successful in overturning this long-standing American rule and tradition of birthright citizenship, all of us are in trouble. That said, you heard me mention earlier this news earlier today, breaking news that the Justice Department has said it will investigate and prosecute local and state officials over immigration enforcement. Here you are now, sir, the duly elected Attorney General of the state of Illinois, and the Justice Department is telling you today that they may come for you. How are you processing that?
Well, this is no surprise to us as state AGs. We've known and we've been speaking with one another for months, even prior to the election, not knowing what the results of the elections would be. And so we've been preparing for the different scenarios that we could predict we would be faced with coming out of the gate. And we also knew that there would be potential weaponization of the Department of Justice. And Pam Bondi, who's the nominee for Attorney General, is a former state Attorney General. I would hope that there would be respect for the rule of law, but this, I haven't read the memo, but the notion that they try to intimidate with the Department of Justice is not surprising. I've got a job to do, and I will do my job.
How concerned are you, to your point about doing your job, how concerned are you that others perhaps may be fearful of the Trump administration and start to back down? Never mind these 22 states that have filed this lawsuit. I want to connect that. It may seem a bit awkward. I don't think so. Let me try it, though. I want to connect that to a story out today that the relatively new boss, the relatively new boss at CNN has warned his star host to avoid trashing Donald Trump. There was a meeting called at CNN. Jake Tapper is in the meeting. Anderson Cooper is in the meeting. And their boss at CNN made it very clear to them that he did not want them trashing Donald Trump on the air. Now, we recall when Jeff Zucker was running CNN back in the day during Trump 1.0, CNN didn't hold back. But now, again, Mark Thompson is the CEO at CNN, and he has warned his major anchors, do not be going in on Donald Trump unnecessarily. This is the head of a news network. Now, he didn't say, he didn't encourage them to tell the truth. And he basically said, give Donald Trump a chance. That's the head of CNN. Give the president a chance. So they've been warned not to go after Donald Trump unnecessarily at CNN. So if you have these major news networks that are backing up, ABC caved and paid the $16 million, that's my read, may not be yours, at ABC caved. The point is that the fourth estate, the news media now, is backing up in fear and trepidation of Donald Trump coming after them like he did ABC. Why should I not believe that even AGs and other local and state officials will be frightened or will not be frightened by these threats and start to back down and give Trump even more wind at his back, so to speak?
Listen, when you when you go through what you got to do to get these jobs, you got to have some courage.
Yeah.
And I was elected during Trump's first term. I knew what I was running to do, and I knew the circumstances that I was coming into. This is Trump 1.0 on steroids. This time, so it is enhanced. But everything you just described is the excuse that we have used as a country to go into other countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
To fight autocracy, to fight those who would try to muzzle the free press. Our very First Amendment in our Constitution is about the freedom of expression, the freedom of the press, and that we would try to defy that, that a president would try to defy that, is going against everything that we have said is American.
This program right now that you're on, Mr. AG, is heard in your home state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago, on WVON, the voice of the Negro. Love VON in Chicago. Shout out to them. You're being heard there right now. So let me just ask you, for those in Chicago and the rest of us around the country watching this, Donald Trump promised before taking the oath on Monday that they were going to go into Chicago and start their mass deportation plan. It's been 48 hours now since he made that commitment. What can you tell us about what did, in fact, happen yesterday or is, in fact, happening in Chicago?
Yeah, I haven't. I'm unaware of any effect of that great announcement as of yet. I don't doubt that there are agents here. Listen, deportations happened over the course of different administrations. The immigration enforcement has done their job during the Obama administration, during Trump's first administration, during Biden administration. However, the notion that you just cast a wide net starts to threaten racial profiling and separating families, and we'll soon learn, to whatever extent it happens, how much we end up undermining the economy. There's a lot of lie in this, because the very people who are saying they want to do this and do this so aggressively rely on the same labor that they say they want to toss out of the country.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about how, as one AG in the state of Illinois, the land of Lincoln, you will push back on these mass deportation plans. I raise that question in part because I'm reading other news today that there are some cities in bold defiance of Donald Trump declaring that they will in fact be sanctuary cities. There are other cities in alignment with Donald Trump declaring that they will be non-sanctuary cities. I'm sitting not too far from Huntington Beach here in Southern California. Huntington Beach has announced here in California boldly that we ain't going to be a sanctuary city. We are branding ourselves as a non-sanctuary city. So again, you've got cities and states who are divided on this issue. How will you handle it in Illinois?
Well, it's important to understand what the sanctuary city and what the laws affiliated with that means. Right here in the state of Illinois, we have what is called the Trust Act, which simply says that law enforcement resources, local and state law enforcement resources, will not be used for civil immigration enforcement. Now, what it makes clear is that if there's a federal criminal warrant or federal criminal investigation, you have to cooperate. But law enforcement resources will not and should not be used. Local and state law enforcement resources would not and should not be used for civil immigration enforcement.
Yep. So, I'm sorry, again.
Go ahead.
No, I've got 2 minutes left here, and I want to just cover one thing finally here and give you time to sound off on it. And that is, again, looking at the terrain that we are about to traverse over the next 4 years as an elected official, who was a law enforcement agent, no less. How concerned are you about Trump politicizing those law enforcement agencies that he has direct oversight of?
I'm very concerned. I mean, I'm very concerned as a result of the memo that was just revealed today or yesterday, suggesting that they're going to go after officials in cities and states who embrace the laws within those cities and states. Republicans have long talked about respecting state law. They've long talked about the 10th Amendment. And now we're saying ignore everything we've always said about the state being able to make its own laws, a state being able to make its own decision as to how it utilizes its resources. It's wholly inconsistent with the philosophy that has always been spewed by conservatives, and it's undressing them.
Does this finally here? Does this feel for you? As an agent of the law, as how about I put this, as anarchy creep, or is that putting too much on it at this point?
I think that would be accurate. Listen, during Trump's first administration, I collaborated with the FBI, the DEA, ATF. We've had a great collaboration with ATF on gun trafficking cases, and I want to be able to collaborate with federal agencies during this administration on things that matter. Yeah. And that includes non-citizens. If non-citizens commit a crime, I want to collaborate on investigating and prosecuting those and holding them accountable. But that doesn't mean you can just cast a wide net and you can tell us to ignore our laws.
No. I hear you loud and clear, and I'm pushing you and all the AGs up higher on my prayer list today and in the days to come. He is the son of Haitian immigrants, the proud son of Haitian immigrants. He is the Attorney General for the state of Illinois, Kwame Raoul, one of 2 attorneys general who filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump, and the administration over this birthright citizenship issue will continue to follow it. Mr. AG Raoul, thank you for your time, sir. All the best to you.
I appreciate you.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward?
Because he's not going back.
And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. The largest U.S. police union is deeply discouraged by Trump's pardon of January 6th rioters, warning it sends a dangerous message that attacking law enforcement has few consequences. The Fraternal Order of Police released a joint statement with the International Association of Chiefs of Police on Tuesday. President Trump orders federal employees in DEI roles to be placed on leave and shuts down DEI programs. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt calls the move a win for Americans. Over 15 Democratic attorneys general are suing to block Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, arguing it violates the 14th Amendment. Civil rights groups also challenged the executive order shortly after the president signed it. And a Japanese study suggests that drinking sparkling water combined with a balanced diet and regular exercise may aid weight loss by increasing glucose usage, reducing fat storage. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers posted their largest victory margin of the season last night. They beat the Washington Wizards by 23, 111-88. LeBron became the second player in NBA history with a triple-double at age 40. The first was Karl Malone in 2003. LeBron had 21 points, 13 assists, and 10 rebounds. The Lakers play Boston Thursday night at Crypto.com. The final Associated Press Top 25 college football poll, which came out Tuesday, should give USC and UCLA a lot to think about after moving to the Big Ten Conference last year. 3 of the top 5 teams are in the Big Ten. National champion Ohio State, number 3 Oregon, and number 5 Penn State. Indiana, which also made the 12-team playoffs, finishes the season at number 10. It could be a while before USC and UCLA become contenders in football in the Big Ten. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusion supply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Are you a recent college graduate with a dream of getting a high-paying job in sales? A job where you can grow a lucrative career in multi-platform audio, digital, podcast, social media, and local events, along with world-class training and career growth opportunities. KBLA Talk 1580, located in historic Leimert Park, is currently hiring entry-level account executives for outside sales. Join a team featuring radio hosts Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornell West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, Dr. Nee Cordelai Corte, Zoe Williams, and our very own Dominique DePrima. For more information on attending our upcoming career fair, contact SMB at KBLA1580.com today.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
We're on the move. A conversation now with Gavin Reynolds, former speechwriter for Vice President Kamala Harris, on the misuse of language in our political discourse by Donald Trump and many others, and what's next for the Democratic Party, more expressly the DNC as he sees it. Gavin, good to have you on. How are you today, sir?
Tavis, I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I'm doing well and delighted to be in conversation with you for these 30 minutes. Let me just jump in and throw a few broad themes at you, and we'll narrow it in the time that we have. Let me start with this. Give me your sense of what it was like to be a speechwriter for the vice president.
Well, first, Tavis, let me say I want to express my sympathies for everything that's going on out in L.A. To you, to your listeners, I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you. Praying for all of y'all out there. Be safe. I just want to start with that.
Deeply appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. I mean, that means a lot. Thank you, sir. Yep.
Of course. Tavis, writing for the vice president was probably simultaneously the most challenging but most exhilarating experience of my life. The VP, and I think a lot of us had the opportunity to get to know her from afar on a national level over this election cycle, but I got the chance to see her up close and to work with her. And that's part of why I was so excited to support her during this election cycle. But getting to write for her, getting to see her brilliance up close, getting to see her dedication to the American people, I think she represents all that we have to have in our elected officials and our public servants. It's what we're missing, I feel like, as of Monday. But to work for the vice president for the time that I did was the honor of a lifetime.
Yep. Speaking of Monday, we all saw what we saw. And there are any number of things that were stomach-turning on Monday for me, and I suspect many others, but none that offended me personally more, given my regard for Dr. King, who this audience knows I regard as the greatest American this country's ever produced. That's my assessment. We were joined on this program on Monday by Martin Luther King III, and he expressed his own distaste for what we saw on Monday when this pastor, Lorenzo Sewell, as I recall is his name, of the 180 Church in Detroit, stood up and essentially tried to flip the words of Dr. King, as Republicans tend to do pretty routinely. They love that line about the color of their skin versus the content of their character. They twist that phrase to mean that King would be against racial preferences and be against corrective programs like affirmative action. None of that is true, but they do that all the time. And then that Reverend Sewell went on to try to, I guess in his mind, channel Dr. King, quoting from "I Have a Dream" and putting all the thunder on it. It was sick. It was sick to watch, frankly. But the larger issue here is the way that that language is not just being misused, but this campaign of misinformation and disinformation coming from those at the highest levels of government. How do you read that?
Well, Tavis, I agree with everything you just said. I think it was sacrilegious what Reverend Sewell did up there on Monday, and certainly offensive to everything that Dr. King stood for, as is, in my opinion, the entirety of Donald Trump's platform. And you're right that the Republican Party has been doing this for a very long time. They pick and choose. They selectively, cherry pick the aspects of Dr. King's writings. They twist those words, and they give them meaning that Dr. King never would have intended. They envision a colorblind society, one that doesn't even acknowledge the disparities that exist based on color. So how can we ever achieve Dr. King's dream if we first can't recognize what our reality is right now? But you bring up misinformation and disinformation. I think those two things they represent one of the greatest threats currently facing our democracy right now. I mean, just look at where the American people are getting their information and are getting their news. I think TikTok and these platforms have tremendous potential, to connect us on the internet, but at the same time, they have tremendous potential to divide us and to put in our minds information that simply is not true. Over the past 4 years, it's been a six-fold increase in terms of the number of Americans who get their information from TikTok, and young Black folks especially are on the platform and report getting their news from TikTok. And it's hard because there are no editors, there are no publishers that curate the information on these platforms. And so a lot of times we don't even know if what we're seeing is true or false, but we take it as gospel. And I think Donald Trump has been able to exploit that, use it to his advantage, for a lot of his supporters who are online, are fed this misinformation. And Fox News, I think, even fits the bill in a lot of ways as being a purveyor of misinformation and disinformation. If we don't get this under control, I think it has the potential to deeply, deeply undermine a lot of our democratic institutions.
How then did you read the decision by Meta and others, but Meta got the most news coverage, to essentially abandon fact-checking?
Right. I mean, it makes sense. If you own and you control the information flow, then you own and control what the American people think and believe. So, if you consider, looking up on stage at the inauguration the other day, who was sitting right behind Donald Trump and with Donald Trump's nominees for cabinet was Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all these other incredibly wealthy individuals who hold tremendous power, not only because they have tremendous amounts of money, but because they control these platforms. And so for Meta to decide, to not engage in fact-checking anymore, it's essentially, them bowing down to those forces of misinformation and disinformation, which, again, I believe will have deep harm, for our democracy.
Yeah. To your point, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Elon Musk. Let's not leave him out of that rundown of the oligarchs who were sitting right behind Donald Trump as he took the oath of office. Let me just pivot right quick here or pause for a second. I'm glad you used the term colorblind. I find myself having to remind people of this. I am a student of Dr. King. I was honored to have written a New York Times best-selling book about Dr. King. People know my sentiment about him. He was a public servant, not a perfect servant, so nothing perfect about King, but I think he's the best we've produced. And when you read his writings, when you listen to his speeches, those that were written, those that are expository, you will never hear, I have not found it yet in 30 years of researching this guy, King ever used the term colorblind. It just was not a term that he used. And I think we ought to be reminded that when we hear that term colorblind, there's always some agenda that's coming behind it. I digress on that for now. Let me tee this up, Gavin, and when we come forward, I want to get your take on this. I just raised this issue earlier in our show, but I want to get your particular take on it, given what you have done in your work in witness writing for the vice president, working at the highest levels of government. CNN, we are told in a story that broke today, Mark Thompson, the CEO of CNN, called a staff meeting at which Anderson Cooper, Jake Tapper, and others were present. And he essentially told them, don't be going after Donald Trump. Give the guy a chance. But they were warned, essentially, to not go in on Donald Trump at CNN. I want to get Gavin's response to that and a few other things I want to cover with Mr. Reynolds when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MOTOR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MOTOR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MOTOR.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Now that Donald J. Trump has begun a second term as president, please join the Empowerment Congress and KBLA Talk 1580 to examine the question, where do we go from here? Chaos or democracy? At the Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. This Saturday, January 25th, some of LA's top elected officials, Representative Sidney Kamlager Dove, Assembly members Isaac Bryan and Sade El-Hawari will be on hand for what promises to be a lively and informative conversation. Doors open at 8 a.m. The general session, moderated by Tavis, Smiley, and broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580, begins at 9 a.m. The event is free, but seating is limited. Registration is required. Go to the Empowerment Congress website at www.empowermentcongress.org to register. Where do we go from here? Chaos or democracy? Join the Empowerment Congress and KBLA Talk 1580 this Saturday, January 25th. Doors open at 8 a.m. The free program starts at 9 a.m. Registration is required at www.empowermentcongress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Gavin Reynolds, who was the speechwriter for Vice President Kamala Harris. Delighted to have him on this program. I'll get to CNN in just a second here. But there is the chance, I don't know how likely it is, I don't know what the percentages are here, Gavin, but there is the chance that Donald Trump, believing that he has a mandate, we discussed on this program yesterday that there really is no mandate here, never mind his invoking of that word in his speech on Monday, that the word mandate. He does not have a mandate. As this audience knows, if 150,000 votes in just 3 of the 7 swing states had swung the other way, we would have been inaugurating your former boss, Kamala Harris, as president on Monday. That's how tight this race was. 150,000 votes could have swung it. But Donald Trump believes in his mind, as he does other things that make no sense, that he does in fact have a mandate, and he so said again on Monday. But there's always the chance that he could overplay his hand, and my sense is that they are not just creeping, but walking boldly into terrain that may be at some point regarded as just mean-spiritedness. Let me unpack that for you right quick. They have ordered federal DEI efforts to shut down by tonight. I saw the memo, read the memo earlier today. They have ordered every government agency, every government department to shut down any and every DEI program in the federal government. They have further said that anybody working on DEI efforts needs to be sent home immediately. They're sending them home with pay. Initially, they're on paid leave. Eventually, you know what that means. They'll be forced out altogether. So a whole lot of folk are about to lose their jobs. As of tonight, again, they'll be on paid leave, but you know exactly where that's taking us. So that is mean-spiritedness in my book. But there's more. The Trump administration almost immediately shut down the White House Spanish language page. They just shut it down. We're only speaking English. They shut down the Spanish language page at the White House. And then the Trump administration canceled travel plans for refugees who have already been cleared to resettle in the U.S. These are persons in parts of the globe that are enduring all kinds of trauma. They've already been cleared heretofore by the U.S. government to resettle here, but the Trump administration has canceled all those travel plans for those refugees. This now, again, you're now parading in territory that I regard as just downright mean-spirited. If that resonates with you, talk to me.
So, Tavis, at the DNC, and I was there, I was one of the speechwriters of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. A lot of us probably remember what former President Barack Obama said during his speech. He said that the sequel is always worse than the original. Mm-hmm. I think we've already seen that start to play out over just the past few days, and I totally agree with you when you talked about the fact that Donald Trump does not have a mandate. I mean, you gave some supporting evidence for that. Let's also remember that there are states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona that simultaneously elect Democrats to the Senate. And a number of other states elected Democratic governors. So it's certainly a farce to say that Donald Trump has an electoral mandate, and I think he had an opportunity both during his inaugural address and in these past few days, in his first few days in office, to demonstrate some sort of willingness to actually bring the country together, to actually unite Americans on some issues that we might agree on. But Donald Trump has, at least it seems, no interest in doing that. I mean, Donald Trump has already sought once again to, remake the country in his own MAGA image. And a lot of the executive orders that he's issued so far are really not surprising, whatsoever, in terms of pulling us back out of the Paris Agreement, pulling us out of the World Health Organization, ending birthright citizenship, bringing back the death penalty at the federal level, and ending the DEI policies, like you said, and laying off folks who work in those sorts of roles. This is red meat for his base, and it's really not it's not unexpected.
Yeah.
However, to your point, I do think that, I think Donald Trump runs a tremendous risk here of, to your point, overplaying his hand, but that's not really how he's thinking about it. The way Donald Trump is thinking about it right now is that he won this election. He genuinely thinks that it was a mandate. He also genuinely thinks he won the last election. So I don't really foresee him letting up at all. Also, keep in mind, a lot of the guardrails in our institutions of government have also been weakened over the past few years. Yeah. There's a Supreme Court with a 6-3 majority for the conservatives, thanks to Donald Trump, and a lot of state officials, across the country, in addition to members of Congress, who have no desire to stand up to Donald Trump right now.
Yeah, I want to believe that the American people still recognize. I could be wrong about this. I want to believe that they still recognize mean-spiritedness when they see it, and that they will push back on that. We shall see. Our remaining moments with Gavin Reynolds when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Progressive presents Renters MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Gavin Reynolds, who was a speechwriter for Vice President Kamala Harris. I got about 4 minutes left here. 2 things I want to cover right quick. I mentioned CNN earlier, and this story that came out today, that they have been forewarned by the CEO there, Mark Thompson, to not go in so hard on Donald Trump. What's your read of the way the media, whether it's CNN or ABC, paying that $16 million, are sort of backing up in this era, in this critical moment?
Sure, Tavis. I mean, we need the media now more than ever, and we've unfortunately seen a whole lot of ring kissing since Donald Trump was elected. The host of Morning Joe went down to Mar-a-Lago shortly after the election. That generated a lot of buzz, and it's unfortunate to hear this latest news about CNN. I think this has a lot to do with protecting ratings, which means it fundamentally comes down to the money. I think they recognize cable news is dying in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Their viewership has declined sharply, looking especially at MSNBC's numbers. So, I think it's a move motivated by a desire to protect the bottom line. And like I said, I think we need journalists now more than ever. They play a vital role in our democracy. It's important to remember, too, that Donald Trump's called the press the enemy of the people. He blocked my friend Jim Acosta's credentials for a time back during his first term. Yeah. So, I think we have to be we have to stay woke and really be aware of what's going on here. And I hope the media steps up to hold him accountable. And I'm grateful for black media, especially at such a time as this, because I know black media will not back down, that they'll hold the president accountable.
We're going to do our best, brother. We will do our best. In the last 3 minutes I have, talk to me about the DNC. Where we stand, the future of the Democratic Party. That's a lot to do in 3 minutes, but take it away.
Well, I think Democrats have been doing a lot of soul searching, since the election. We're experiencing somewhat of an identity crisis. I think we're trying to wrestle with what it means, not only internally, but externally. What does it mean to be a Democrat? What does it mean to support the Democratic Party? Who are we and what are we for? I think we've seen a huge disconnect between our policies and our perception. I mean, you look at a lot of our policies. There was some swing state polling that was done before the election, and you take some extremely progressive policies, 70% for raising the minimum wage to $17 per hour, 84% for expanding Medicaid, 63% for a single-payer system, 82% said in this poll that the rich and big corporations should pay more in their taxes. And this, by the way, was a data set evenly split between Harris and Trump voters, but yet Donald Trump did win every swing state. So, I think we have to get the perception down. 33% approval rating for Democrats right now. It's not much higher for the GOP, though, to be real. It's 36% for them. Yeah. I think a lot of people are just very done with politics right now. Our politics are toxic. Our legislatures are ineffective, and there's too much money in politics. So trust in our institutions is down, and I think that as the DNC, we've seen a chart a path forward to make sure that people can connect those popular progressive policies back to the party and our people and our candidates. I'm inspired by the folks running for DNC chair. I'm excited to see who wins. I'm excited who that next leader of our party is to help steer us out of this wilderness and get us back on the path to victory in 2026 and beyond.
Nope, you said it best. I couldn't do any better. That the DNC, the Democratic Party, more expressly, is suffering from an identity crisis right now. And I'll say this, they better figure it out sooner than later, sooner than right now and quicker than at once, because we need, at minimum, a two-party system. I could do with more, but we at minimum need a strong two-party system. Democrats need to find their spine. I'll leave it there for now. Gavin Reynolds, an honor to have you on the program. Thank you for your insights, sir. All the best to you.
It's an honor to join you. Take care.
Thank you, sir. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The largest U.S. police union is deeply discouraged by Trump's pardon of January 6th rioters, warning it sends a dangerous message that attacking law enforcement has few consequences. The Fraternal Order of Police released a joint statement with the International Association of Chiefs of Police on Tuesday. President Trump orders federal employees in DEI roles to be placed on leave and shuts down DEI programs. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt calls the move a win for Americans. Over 15 Democratic attorneys general are suing to block Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, arguing it violates the 14th Amendment. Civil rights groups also challenged the executive order shortly